Welcome to Flasher Magazine Issue 1. This is the first issue, so cut me some slack. So this is also kind of a test run. We'll see, hopefully there'll be an issue 2. But the idea of this video magazine is that as an evangelist I get to go to a lot of conferences, talk to a lot of people who are doing some really interesting stuff with Flash, and I also end up with a lot of video footage that I never use. So this is going to be kind of a random collection of what's going on at the moment in Flash. In this issue, as you saw, we have some good stuff. First thing we're going to look at is I actually went down to Mountain View, which is about 20 minutes away from my house, and talked to Chuck Friedman from Ribbit. And if you follow my blog, they have a $100,000 killer app challenge going on. So this is serious cash. So any Flash developer or Flex developer who's not registered for this contest, you know, you're insane. You know, register for the contest. Start playing around with their APIs. They're incredibly easy. But let's check out this interview with Chuck, and he'll tell you more about it. Alright, so I'm here in Mountain View at Ribbit headquarters. I'm here with Chuck Friedman. How's it going, Chuck?
Hey Lee, thanks for coming down. It's great to have you here.
So really quick, just kind of give me an overview of what Ribbit is for people who haven't heard of it.
Sure, well if you're a Flash or Flex developer or designer, Ribbit allows you to add voice into your application. For Flex developers we have an SDK, basically a SWIC and a bunch of sample apps and AS docs. And for Flash designers and developers we have the SWIC as well as Flash controls, which install into CS3 or CS4. Basically allow you to make and receive phone calls right within your Flash app, right on the client. You can record and send messages. You can retrieve voicemail and play them back. You can also send SMS and manage contacts. I've been out here in Silicon Valley for about 3 years, actually 3 years this week. Before this I was at Yahoo, and I was hired by Yahoo to lead development for Yahoo Maps, a great team over there. But in the process of working with Flex 1X, which is something I'm glad no one else has to go through anymore, I actually fell in love with working with the API and basically breaking open the technology to share with other developers. So I love the fact that what we were doing inside of Maps other developers could do within their own applications. So I really got a feel for working with the community and seeing what other developers can do and enabling them to just do really cool things with technology that my team was putting out there. Going from Yahoo to a smaller startup was cool. I mean, especially where it was a company that was dedicated to Flash and not so much having to fight this Ajax versus Flash battle, which happens a lot at a lot of companies. So it was very cool.
So I know one thing that a lot of people are excited about is this developer contest with $100,000 worth of prizes. I don't think I've ever seen a Flash contest with that much loot.
I still don't know how I got marketing to buy into that, but basically what it is we recognize that it's the community that is doing cool things with our technology, right? I mean, we've put a lot of work and a lot of effort and support into making this API, like I said, as simplistic as possible, as fun to code with as possible, both on the Flex side and on the more creative, and design-oriented Flash side. Here's something that really is out there to encourage developers to really push the envelope with the technology. So we have 5 categories in the contest, 3 of which are application development categories. Build the best Flash-based Ribbit app for Facebook or MySpace and let people call each other right from their pages. Right. I mean, it's incredible stuff. You can reach millions of users that way, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So that kind of imagination and innovation.
So why don't you show us a couple of the cool things people have been building?
Okay, great. Yeah, so actually we were just fresh off of coming from Max, okay, which was great. Everybody did an awesome job at Adobe. Obviously great to be a part of that.
You don't have to say that just because I'm from Adobe.
No, it's true.
Oh, okay.
And, so Mechanism, a very talented team, put this together, and what they were doing is this is a company that's all about reaching users and really breaking through and putting stuff out there to the community that people just go crazy about, right? Mm-hmm. So with Voice Now, I mean, they came across Ribbit as a way to sort of go beyond just sending somebody a URL or a viral video or text. Now with Voice you can actually engage users directly. So this 3D depiction, I guess, is a scene from Need for Speed, and there's this billboard in the back here which is called The Wall, Add Your Voice, and if I click on that, it's basically this Ribbit-enabled module, and it says speak out, call this number, and this again is like a purpose number equivalent that users of the game can call into and actually leave a voice message that basically says, I found a cheat in this part of the game, or I'm loving this game, you got to go out and buy it. So it's sort of like a voice testimony, but it also kind of evolves into community, because what happens is you can call and leave a message, and then someone can reply to your message, and then there's this whole sort of trail. And the other application we had up on stage was Mitch Grasso from Slide Rocket, right? So Mitch built this sort of online PowerPoint equivalent, but way beyond that in Flex, and deployed this, and I think everybody in the community knows him. But essentially what's awesome about this is you can create slides, you can deploy them, you can share them with other folks, and what Mitch wanted to do was add some sort of a communication feature. And so when I package this presentation and send to you, which is a simple click of the publish button, you'll get this presentation go through and you say, oh man, this is great stuff, and then you can just click there and it reminds you to call me right back and we can close the deal.
So for people who want to enter the contest, what do they have to do? And it is open to anybody, right?
It's open to
just
anybody.
US residents.
Yeah, completely international contest. It's being facilitated by a company called Topcoder, which handles contests, and they do a fantastic job. So go to killerappchallenge.ribbit.com and you can sign up. You get your free developer account, you get your free Topcoder account, and you begin coding. The first checkpoint's going to be in January. We're going to have 3 checkpoints for the 5 categories, and then of course the final entry is March 12th. Grand prizes will be awarded at the end of March, hopefully at some giant conference somewhere in this area. But what's cool is we already have some cool, I could say, celebrity judges on the panel, such as yourself, Lee. and Daniel Dura and Matt Choten from Adobe. We have myself, we have a few people from BT, and we're going to be getting some more community developers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Chuck.
Thanks, Lee. Great to have you down here.
Net nacht met Karen hebben zich born rest er show must the having it must your else in the shame and help with van access to if it's a lack self from there could be because all nog nog even heel van ik weet dus hebben het dus net gedien de niet hier is I say it.
All right, so I'm here with Ryan Stewart. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
How's life on the A-list?
It's hey, it's what it is. It is what it is.
You can't complain.
Exactly.
Can you?
Yeah.
So, wanted to talk to you really quick about Flash Catalyst. So
Pretty
you're
exciting
kind
stuff.
Yeah, it is. So you're kind of the main contact on the evangelism team for Flash Catalyst.
I've been stoked about it.
Yeah. So really quick. So it used to be called Thermo,
Yep.
but just give the audience what is it?
Yeah, so it's kind of it's a Flex project you're dealing with in Flash Catalyst. So it's meant to really help solve the designer developer workflow problem with Flex. And basically what it does is you can take things from Photoshop, Illustrator, or Fireworks, those static design assets, bring them into Flash Catalyst, and then start creating an RIA without having to write any code at all. So you can basically do it all visually. There's a timeline that's time-based, and you can create transitions, animations, whatever you want inside of Flash Catalyst, which kind of looks and feels like a design tool.
Right, so it's kind of an interactive design tool. for
Exactly,
Flex.
yep, that's kind of the three-word interactive design tool for Flex, yeah.
Okay. So you can kind of think of it, is it all right to think of it as kind of like the design view and Flex on steroids?
Yeah, they'd be really, really big steroids because you can't do things like copy and paste from Illustrator into Design View and Flex. So I mean, it's all rendered, it's Flex rendering, so it kind of took some things from Design View, but it's its own separate product, and it feels like a CS4 design tool. So it's really, really, I mean, it's meant to feel very separate from Flex Builder, even in Design View.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is actually built on top of Eclipse, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yep.
It doesn't look like Eclipse.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you've been doing some work with Eclipse, so maybe you'll be able to make Flex Builder look like that. But yeah, we basically, it's built on top of Flex Builder, which is built on top of Eclipse. So you actually get a code view, which is kind of nice, and you get like syntax highlighting and code completion inside of Flash Catalyst. So you can switch between code and design view if you want to, if you're feeling adventurous.
Right. So as far as, so we released a public alpha at
Yep.
Max,
Yep.
but this isn't publicly available yet. When is the public actually going to be able to play with it?
We're gonna do so the release at Max was actually Mac only, unfortunately, but we're gonna be doing a full public release on Labs sometime in early 2009. So in the next few months, or next few months, I should say, and then that'll be Mac Windows, and so sort of fully open the first beta release. Then we're gonna do another beta release after that before we do another release to manufacturing or the actual 1.0 release.
Right. So we announced at Max it was going to be called Flash Catalyst.
Yep.
So initial reaction, myself included when I heard the name is, since it's tied to Flex, why isn't it called Flex Catalyst?
Yeah, so as part, also in Max, we announced basically everything's kind of coming under this Flash platform brand. So basically what that means is we're really making all the tools that target the Flash player, we're going to give all those the Flash name. And so it's supposed to work well with Flash Professional, it'll work, as its own tool in Flash Catalyst. So basically everything that outputs Swift is going to be called Flash something from now on.
Right. So the one piece in that I have a question about is, so Flex Builder is not just used for doing Flex, so are we going to maybe see a name change there?
I would stay tuned on that. I would stay tuned on that.
AKA probably?
Yes,
I
yeah.
don't want to put you on the spot.
Exactly. Well, if you were at Max and you grab one of those little monkey thingies that has the Flash logo on it, you might want to look at that.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, take a look at that.
So one last question. So Flash Catalyst is mainly used for Flex, but in the future, is it going to be kind of a standalone tool? Am I going to be able to actually build full applications in Flash Catalyst?
Well, so you could do anything kind of design, so it'll always be Flex. It'll always be Flex under the hood. That's going to be the framework that powers everything. But the idea is, that in theory, you could create anything that didn't need to connect to a database or do kind of really heavy, hardcore logic. You could create in Flash Catalyst if it was just kind of a typical animation site or, something that had some motion or just general piece of interactive content. That could all be done standalone in Flash Catalyst, yeah.
Cool. So I think one thing I think a lot of people really would like to know is exactly how much beer do you drink on a daily basis?
I try to drink a lot of beer, yeah. So I
actually
make my own, right?
Yeah, I've heard you and Mesh making your own
Exactly.
beer. I've actually started to drink beer more, just so I really want to make you proud.
Warms my heart.
Yeah,
Wow.
no,
It's a big.
So but what is it? A 6-pack a night? Are you at that level yet?
I do a couple beers at lunch usually if I'm home, and then I'll do 2 or 3 or 4 beers in the evening. So I'm probably at
Okay,
less than a
just
6-pack
be
a day.
Sure, and you let me know if you feel like you're having a problem.
Yeah, it's all good beer. I think that's it's all good beer. It's all quality beer. I don't drink for the alcohol. I just like the taste of beer, which is
All right.
yeah.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Thanks, buddy.
Come on, this is good gold right here.
So I was asked to speak at a couple of different events in the Southwest. So I first flew to LA for LA Flashapalooza Stock 3, which is a free Flash event put on by FITC's Sean Pucknell in association with R. Blank. Now, R runs the Almer Blank agency down in Venice Beach, and they have a really cool studio set up right by the beach. Joining me speaking was Mr. Papervision, Ralph Howard, who was talking about 3D effects, as well as ActionScript legend Brandon Hall, who was obviously talking about more developer topics. I also saw a cool session from Jennifer Sheeman, who creates those great 30-second bunny movie parodies, and she was showing how she creates these all on the timeline inside of Flash, which was really cool to see. So after some much needed rest, I took the 4-hour drive from LA to Vegas, and I'd been meaning to speak to the user group there for a while, but it never seemed to quite work out. But thanks to John Olson, we were able to arrange it, and here's a little bit of what happened.
So another thing that Justin did is an even more kind of impressive one. So this is an actual cloth simulation, so I can actually grab this and move this around. So right now this has a bitmap image that's mapped onto here, but since we're in Flash, we can also take a video file and map this onto here. And you can see the performance is actually really fast. If I click show lines, again you can see what's happening here. This is just a bunch of triangles, and he's actually using the Ape Physics open source library to actually make this type of simulation. So here is just a simple application, and this is actually using the new 3D features in Flash Player 10. So this is actually loading images off of Flickr, so I can rotate this wall around. This effect, it's pretty common now on the web. But when I actually click on one of these, the transition that's used in order to show the photos is actually a pixel bender filter. So if I double click on one of these, you can see that cool effect. That's actually, and believe it or not, the code for that filter is not a lot of code at all. And so when I click out of here, it's just a really cool way to do image transitions. So anyway, I hit Control M, and this would launch. And essentially, what this has done is actually replace my desktop with all this fake work. When I use the keyboard shortcut, it comes up right away. So these are actually just FLV video clips that are looping. So I have here. I'm checking out the latest PaperVision code from Subversion. I'm FTPing a file. I got my little to-do list here, so I'll be fine if the boss comes by. Yeah.
What are you buying there, buddy?
Magazine.
Yeah.
It's a long train ride. I need something to read.
Yeah.
Excellent question. So obviously the choice of what microphone you use is going to greatly determine how good the sound quality is in your tutorial. So the very first microphone that I used on Go2 and Learn was this headset microphone, and this is actually made by Plantronics, which is, I think, makes the best headset microphones. So this just connects through USB, and this was a really good solution. Obviously, it fits on my head like a headset. Really, a big advantage of this is that I don't have anything in front of me except just my keyboard and mouse, so it's really simulates just a regular developer experience. Now, don't confuse this with those cheap gaming headsets that you see. This Plantronics headset is probably around $50 to $60, but that little bit of extra money is definitely worth it when it comes to sound quality. Now, the only disadvantage with this is, again, the sound quality. If you listen to some of my earlier tutorials, they kind of have that Skype-type audio quality. So the next thing that I got after I got rid of the headset was actually this podcasting starter kit. So this came with this Audio-Technica condenser microphone. And again, a condenser microphone is a higher quality microphone. It gives you that kind of nice, deep, bassy radio sound to your voice. So this starter kit actually came with the microphone, mic stand, a pop and hiss filter. This is important for when you're making, puh and s sounds, so you don't kind of, do little explosions into the microphone, because those do get picked up. So it came with this, as well as this USB mixing board. So this is actually made by Alesis. And again, this is a USB mixing board in that the microphone plugs in here, but to get this into the computer, I simply just plug this board into a USB port. Now the advantage of something like this is that it has a whole bunch of controls that allows me to adjust the quality of my voice before it even gets into the computer. And it also adds the ability, if I want to add more inputs into my recording. Let's say I had other types of audio inputs, I could do it here. So this is a really good solution that I recommend. Then what happened next was I started thinking, well, what if I want to be able to record a tutorial when I'm traveling? So I don't want to be carrying around this mixing board and all of that. So now they actually make really good USB condenser microphones. So this one's made by MXL. It's one I definitely recommend. And you can see it's just a condenser microphone, but on the bottom you can see a USB plug there. So I just plug this directly into the computer and I'm ready to go. Now of course I'll also want to get a mic stand and a pop filter. But this is probably the best solution for getting professional sound quality. Now there's one important note. If you're a Mac user and you're running Leopard, there are some known issues with USB drivers, and they can cause static when it comes to microphones. So basically I would be recording a tutorial and halfway through it I get this terrible static and echo. So what I am now doing is actually I'm back to using the podcasting starter kit, and I take an output from the headphone jack here and I plug it directly into the line in on the computer. So I'm bypassing the USB issue altogether. But definitely as far as quality goes, you're going to want a condenser microphone to get that professional sound quality. So this is the question that I get asked the most, obviously besides Flash questions, is which is the best software to use. So basically, obviously it's going to depend on which operating system you're using. If you're a Windows user and you're going to be recording on Windows, Camtasia is definitely the best choice for recording. It's a little bit pricey, but they do have a full-featured 30-day trial download. But it has the most features and the best recording quality. If you're on the Mac, there's actually a lot more kind of selection. iShowU is the software that I currently use. It's also the software that Adobe uses for all its screen capture things. It's only $20. It's just a really good raw recorder. And it just does a really nice job of screen recording, even at high frame rates. So if you're trying to capture animation and things like that, it does a really nice job. There's other software like Snaps Pro, which is more expensive. But so for Windows, Camtasia is what you're going to want to use. For Mac, my recommendation is to use iShowU. When it comes to which size you should record your tutorials at, the first thing you need to think about is the ratio, whether you're going to use 4:3 or 16:9, meaning a standard square or widescreen. And also, what size are you going to be delivering them at? So on Go2 and Learn, I'm now delivering them at 900 by 675, which has a 4:3 aspect ratio. So I'm going to want to record, obviously, at a 4:3 aspect ratio. So I actually record at 1200 by 900, and then when I encode it to H.264, I shrink it down to 900 by 675. So most tutorials are delivered with a 4:3 aspect ratio. It's probably the best thing to use. One thing to be wary of, though, is you don't want to shrink down your recordings too much. So I see a lot of tutorials out there where they're shrunk down so much that you can't read the text on the interface of whatever software you're recording. You definitely want to record at a size where you're not going to have to shrink it down too much to its final destination. So if you have a 1024 by 768 resolution, you can just record it full screen and then shrink it down to, say, 900 675 or a little bit smaller. But it's, the main decision is going to be based on whether it's going to be 4 by 3 or 16 by 9 aspect ratio, and then you want to record at a size where you're not going to have to shrink it down too much to meet its final destination. So when it comes down to encoding settings for the final destination of your tutorial, you're going to want to experiment here. So I definitely recommend recording the screen at the highest possible quality. So in Camtasia, it's going to record an AVI file. In ICOU, I choose the Apple Animation Codec to record with, so it's essentially no compression whatsoever. So then what I end up is with the highest quality file possible. Then what I do on the Mac, since I'm on the Mac, I go into QuickTime Pro and I just trim the beginning and the end of the video. So obviously you want to leave a few seconds at the beginning and the end. So I trim that up and then I export it to an H.264 file. Now when you go into the exporter, you'll actually see a quality slider. Now here's where you can really adjust the quality and also reduce the file size. But now since my files are now hosted on Adobe servers, I can kind of go nuts with the quality. But if you're going to be hosting the files yourself, you want to make sure you watch out for that, because if your tutorials become popular, like I know they're going to, you're going to take a huge bandwidth hit, and so you just need to be aware of that. So basically, again, record at the highest quality possible and save that so you can archive it. And then just experiment with different, bit rates and things like that for your final destination file. Again, I go to H.264, but you could also go to FLV using Onto VP6, or you can, encode them for the iPhone to any format whatsoever. But the key is to record in that really high quality format, and then you can burn off, a dozen different copies in different formats. So that's the approach that I use, and that's your approach that I definitely recommend.
It's actually Beethoven.
You can also encode to FLV using the Onto VP6 codec, but generally speaking, Hello?
We don't have enough drinking footage of me.
I don't think that's girl, it's the bird. What the hell is in here? Oh shit.
You get it? Yeah, I'll pound it. Pivo, na zdravia.
Let's look where you go with this.
So, shall I meet you here? Does that wide angle make me look really...
I really do recommend it.